number 1 of the 22 season.
All right, guys, recapping stop number 1 here at Lake Sam Rayburn. You know, had a good week. I think I ended up finishing 26. Had a really good first day and just kind of rode that through the second day. Day 2 was canceled due to high winds. Really wish we could have got out there because yesterday there was a ton of boats on the lake. A Saturday on Sam Rayburn in February. The fish were biting, so people were out there. Local tournaments, locals out there having fun. So I wanted to go over a few of my fish catches this week. On day 1, I did all of my primary damage on the Spro or Ruku shad. Really just lucked into one good pocket, my starting pocket. I caught 12 or 13 pounds really quick before like 8:30 on that bait, just black and gold, grade and grass. My setup this week for the Ruku shad, I was throwing it in like anywhere from 3 to 8 foot of water. The lake is down here at Rayburn this week, so the grass really wasn't that deep in a lot of pockets. The pocket that I caught them in was the only pocket I found on the whole lake that had grass all the way out to about 6 or 7 foot. So that was key, I felt like, for catching those fish this week. I was just paralleling those edges. I was throwing the favorite 7.5 medium heavy. I went with a little bit heavier rod than I normally do because I was ripping it out of that grass, really wanting a reaction bite. And this reel is the Solus XCS 7.3-1. That high-speed reel makes it a whole lot easier on your body, ripping it out of that grass and catching back up to them. These fish were knocking slack in the line when it would come out of that grass. And then I rolled up into a pocket that I'd actually caught them last time I was here. Didn't really get any bites in there in practice, and threw those Nichols swim jig up in there in about a foot of water. Hadn't had a bite up there all week and caught a 5-pounder. That really solidified my bag on day 1. My swim jig rod setup was the new 7.2 Signature Series DC Summit rod. This rod is an awesome swim jig rod, one of the best swim jig rods I've ever used. It was paired with the 7.3-1 Solus XCS reel. I was targeting isolated grass patches. There's a lot of, I'm calling it hay grass here on Sam Rayburn. And then there was not a lot of deep hydrilla this week. It was all really shallow. There was a few pockets with deep hydrilla, but very few. So I had a few pockets that I was really targeting shallow grass, that 1 foot hay grass to 2-3 foot hydrilla. And the 5-pounder I caught this week came out of a 1.5 foot of water next to that hay grass. So that 7.3-1 really allows that reel to keep up with that bait and get it up there in that 1 to 2 foot of water, and then really catch up to them when you get that bite. On day 2, the conditions totally changed. There were boats on all of my shallow stuff, so it really was hard to get on stuff that you weren't fishing behind somebody. So I ended up tying on a mixed stick jerkbait. My jerkbait rod this week, it was a 6.8 medium heavy Pro Series favorite rod. This rod right here is a great jerkbait rod. It's short enough where you're not always hitting it on the side of the boat. Day 1, I didn't really throw a jerkbait that much. Was catching all my fish out of shallow grass. Day 2, it threw me a curveball with all the boats we had on the lake. So I had to go out to 20 to 35 foot of water and using my active target, catching suspended fish, and ran into 10-9, enough to get me paid and get me out of Texas with a check, and rolling on to Harris Chain with some good points.
Yes, yes. Number 2, let's go.